here we are.
Welcome, everybody, to In the Buff. We've got your host, Chris, here. We've also got John, Cody, and Scott.
I don't suppose there are any comments that deserve our attention today.
Well, we've been neglecting our comment reading for quite a while. So
Yeah.
if we wanted to, we could. We've got a bit of a backlog here.
Yeah,
Okay.
that could be the whole episode.
It could. I feel like we might need some padding.
Comments with Cody.
From our most recent episode of the podcast. One from me, Bowen339.
Holy shit.
Longtime
saying,
friend of the channel?
I dabble. I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I watch some of their stuff. When I was editing this episode, I had to stop and go watch the first half of Digimon the movie. That's how much our discussion hyped me up.
I agree. I wonder who the animation studio was.
I have no clue.
Studio Trigger's first project confirmed.
Who?
What?
Nothing. Studio Trigger.
Who's that?
They're the guys that do Darling in the Franxx.
I'm not familiar with their work.
He said one freaking anime.
It's the one I know. It's the one I like. It's the
It's the one I know.
It's the Gundam clone, only with sexual.
Yeah? Do they fuck the Gundams?
No.
They kind of do.
They
kind of do.
yeah.
Oh. Longtime friend of the channel, Kyle, on reviewing our childhood in the Buff podcast episode, whatever, part 2, says, I'm gonna clip that Nova Flame from the movie and add it to my Discord soundboard. You guys know about Discord soundboards? Not you guys, I'm talking to the audience. It's great.
Oh, I was going to say yes. I was going to say I do
one
know
of the
about
best
it.
inventions.
I don't still.
Yeah.
It goes wheel, sliced bread, Discord soundboard.
You think sliced bread is better than Discord soundboard?
Why else is everything compared to it?
I really don't know why everything else is compared to it.
Before sliced bread, did people just eat whole loaves?
Yes.
With their
Yes.
teeth, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They would rip it out with their hands and bite into it with their
Wow.
teeth.
Mhm.
What the hell did you do with the butter?
No.
Eat it whole.
No, you'd put the bread in your mouth, then the butter in your mouth.
Oh no. Your mouth just becomes a fucking soup bowl.
in like
I got bad news.
in Renaissance era Europe, it was actually very common to just eat whole sticks of butter.
It's common in the South today. Deep fried butter is a thing people
Wait,
do.
really?
That's a thing at fairs.
Huh.
It's because they don't have any sliced bread to
The
spread their
South is
butter on.
the South
So
is
they have
Yeah,
all
it
this
wasn't
butter.
invented down there.
They don't know what to do with it.
Well, you can't shoot a bread to slice it. You know.
No, I
I
suppose
guess if
not.
you shot knives.
right.
If you shot a knife at a loaf of bread, you might be able to slice this. We should get somebody on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only video game or whatever I've seen that you shoot swords is Borderlands. There's a
Oh, really?
legendary gun that shoots swords.
How much unsliced bread is in Borderlands?
Probably some. But
Yeah.
you can't interact with it. You can eat a
Hmm.
pizza.
Did you know that Betty White is older than sliced bread?
Betty White's
Betty
dead.
White. Yeah, she is a
She's
corpse.
not
now.
older than anything.
Oh,
She is a corpse.
that's right.
Remember when that was such a meme? When everybody was like, Betty White's so old. She's never gonna die. And then she did.
I
They
don't
probably
understand
feel
the Betty White
foolish.
love. She was feeding those gators. It's her fault.
Yeah, good
Bro.
point. Wow, what a deep cut there, Scott.
They were nibbling on her little toesies.
That's not fair.
It's not right.
Everybody blames the gators.
You want to know the crazy thing? When Lake Placid was released, Betty White was still old as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like Golden Girls.
I think my favorite little bit of history for Betty White is in one of my buddy's streams. We were playing Phasmophobia, and we got
yeah.
the name Betty White as the ghost. And I said right then and there, I looked at him on camera and I'm like, Betty White's gonna die this year. And then she died in late December, right before the year ended. And I'm like,
Wow.
dude, we manifested it. It happened.
You sure did make sure that almost triple-digit age woman died.
Here's the thing. People also joked about how Queen Elizabeth was so old and she was never gonna die. And then she did. Remember that?
Isn't that
That's
incredible?
crazy. All right, who do you want to joke
I bet
about
they all
next?
feel like jackasses.
Who do you want to?
Chadwick Boseman. Everybody says the same thing about him.
I don't know.
You know?
I don't think
This
they did.
guy'll never
I
die.
don't think that was on anybody's radar.
Was that just me? Was that just me saying
I mean, could you imagine the backlash if somebody was saying the opposite, though? Like, this guy's only got so much time left, guys.
that? And then he does.
They probably felt foolish. And then they're like, that's not what I meant. Wakanda forever? Let's get off. Let's
All
get
right.
off.
He never
Let's
freezes.
get off tragedies. I've got another comment here.
I already got off. We were talking about Betty White.
Have you seen her when she was young?
Did you
Yeah.
see her when she was old?
Disagree.
We're not talking about dead people.
Betty White still got it.
From Ziplo, Aughts Nostalgia Bait, an episode of the podcast. Ziplo says, so cool, but 9/11. Damn it! Shit!
I agree. I agree. I agree.
God, we didn't even broach it.
It was mentioned.
Wait, what are you talking about?
It was specific. It was explicitly mentioned that we weren't going to talk
Yeah.
about 9/11.
Right. We could go ahead and like what's everyone's memories from 9/11?
No, I'm good.
First grade.
I remember leaving kindergarten early.
Great. I'm so happy. That's fantastic. What a fucking story, bro. That was so crazy.
And then we went to church for the first time.
Oh.
Incredible.
Because you were so Islamophobic, you had to pick sides.
Yep.
Absolutely.
You got it, George.
A lot of people were at that time. You know, maybe we
Islamophobic?
shouldn't be proud of that. Yeah.
Does anyone here know the book that George Bush was reading to a class when it happened?
Fox and
Nope.
socks.
No, it
Green
was,
eggs and ham.
It's either The Pet Goat or My Pet Goat.
It's My Pet Goat.
Right.
Yeah.
My
Is
Pet
it
Goat.
Spanglish?
Whew.
And so, me and my pet goat made it back from the farmer. Sir, we listen. So, the World Trade Center has been bombed. Okay, kids. Well, enjoy your nap time. I gotta go.
It kind of was like that, but he finished the book.
That's my president right there.
What a showman. Ever
Yeah,
the profession.
You know, he
The show
started,
must
he's gonna
go on.
finish it. Unlike
Well,
Chris.
he had to finish because it was his first time ever reading a book.
Nice.
What if
I don't understand the George Bush hate. I don't understand it. He's
I
a
do.
cute old man.
No, that's how they get you.
what?
That's how
Oh,
they get
no.
you. It's
I've
like,
been sheep-dipped!
So, everyone talks about how big of a buffoon like George W. Bush was, but I was hearing from like some reporters that like the weird thing is the reason he was so popular is because he was great like one-on-one. He could make you feel like you're the only person in the world.
Well, that was Clinton to me. People say that a lot about
He's
Clinton.
very charismatic with saxophone and pizza.
and that other thing.
Yes.
Yeah, the other thing. Finger blasting. The thing that I get about George Bush was that I really took this away from when I was a kid. Besides my impression of him as being a war criminal, as a kid, people called the election of who you want to have a beer with between Gore and Bush. And I
Yep.
gotta say,
Nobody nobody likes Gore.
Gore is a fucking loser. I wouldn't want to go anywhere with him,
Yeah.
but I would have liked him to lead my country just to see what it would have been like.
Hey guys, so really, this beer that we're drinking right now is full of carbon dioxide, which is ruining the environment.
We're ruining the planet. We're ruining the planet, and you guys aren't even talking about anything in particular. We're not even doing comments anymore. This is Al Gore's voice. That's what it sounds like, guys.
Bush is just here like, hey man, after this, you want to go ride some bulls next to my oil rigs?
Every single impression you do turns into Clinton.
Oh shit. I'm a leftist. What can I say?
We must stop these terrorist killers. Now watch this drive.
Watch this drive.
He won the war with that. Well, he won our hearts.
He won our hearts.
Did I see Saddam Hussein golf? No, I didn't.
And if I did, wouldn't see a drive that smooth.
What are we doing? Where are we?
What the fuck are we
I forgot. Sorry. We were enamored with George Bush.
What's fucking happening right now?
You know, I forgot that was his name, and for a second there, I thought you were talking about the meme where it was like Barack Hussein Obama.
That's yeah. For some reason, there was a period of my life where I just really like to point out that Barack's middle name is Hussein.
You and every Republican in the 2000s.
Yeah. I just thought it was so funny that like every time I mention him, just a total non sequitur that I would go out of my way.
You know, here's the thing, is the only reason we believe that his middle name is Hussein is because of his Hawaiian birth certificate. But if we found his Kenyan birth certificate, his actual middle name is Barack Bush did 9/11 Obama.
Oh my god.
He needs to be stopped.
Wait, who? Bush or
wait, maybe he was just really telling the truth there.
Yeah.
I'm confused. Who needs to be stopped?
Somebody. Hitler should have been stopped.
He was. We should give the guy a medal who stopped him.
Yeah. Well, it's my corner.
Yeah, let's get into it.
It's my corner, and my corner is going to be about the channel, stuff we're making, and the majority of it, as I've discussed with you three before, I want to actually nail down what we are doing with this House of Leaves video essay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Gotcha.
But first, let's just do a check-in. You guys are working on like 2 different things right now. You and John, Chris and Cody and John. So let's just, let's discuss that for a bit. I feel like this can be a good chance for us to just get it out in the open, do a bit of a round table between the 4 of us. Nobody else will hear this. And we just talk about the edits. Stuff we can do to make it funny. Just little ideas that we might have for the edits. Let's just get it through together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been depressed.
Yeah.
Called it.
John wins the pool.
You guys did a Deadpool for me?
No.
You're live, though. He wouldn't know.
Right.
No, the bet was whoever guesses your emotion gets to have a pool built in their backyard.
Oh, okay.
I said horny.
With the money from the channel.
Right.
Oh.
It's gonna be a small pool.
Fuck, dude. Kiddie pool.
We can make a video. We can make a video out of it, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know
I know how to
what?
pour concrete.
Anyway. I don't know why you just said I've been depressed. I don't know what the joke was.
You said we were... Never mind.
Great. John, let's start with you first.
Sure.
What are you working on?
I'm working on that scary reaction video of all those terrifying videos that you asked us to watch.
Yeah. How's that going?
And I've kind of gone through and pinpointed like where I think some of the better reactions are. And I think where I get stuck is this can either be a 5 to 10 minutes of a reaction video where we're just seeing us react, or it could be 45 minutes long of a whole ass thing. And I think that's the wrong choice.
I agree.
I vote for the 5 to 10 minute.
But where I start to get stuck for the 5 to 10 minute one is it can easily get repetitive or just look poor if I just mash 4 people's reactions during a video together at the same time, or layer them one after the other, seeing the same part over and over again, basically, or hearing it.
Are you guys not doing anything entertaining other than being spooked?
No.
Great.
I provide a bit of commentary.
Cody talks a little bit about the video. Kyle is stiff as a goddamn board.
Yeah, he really is.
Chris tries to punch the air twice. And
that was a pretty good reaction. I watched that one.
And I think in between videos, Chris is trying to be funny. Like he's trying to be entertaining. And
It's not working though.
It's alright.
You know me.
I do.
Sorry.
And after that, I mean, I try to provide an intro for it, and then besides that, it's really just my reactions. So I mean, like, I don't know. Like, there's
I mean, I could do something. You could make me, like, maybe I could do, like, all right, this next video, that kind of thing.
I was gonna say, I think what I've started to do is I've started to go back and watch our double buff double features, because those are areas where you either speed up the runtime to where we say something interesting or funny or something, and I've kind of just been using those as motivation to try to base the video off of.
That's a good thing to do. I had to cut so much out of those double features when I was editing them. Like, some of those videos are 20 minutes long, and the movies are 3 times longer than the video. And so, 60 to 70% of the raw footage just gets cut.
In the case of that rape movie about Billy the Kid, it was like 2 hours long. But we didn't watch the whole thing, thank God.
Well, yeah, we didn't watch the whole thing.
My bad.
I've also been thinking back to, like, the Little League montages that I created.
Yeah.
And I know the problem with those were, like, one, most of it was, like, solo stuff. So I could fully just cut out parts that I did not like. I recorded it, I edited it, I posted it, I did all of it. And there were parts that I thought were funny, but there's also, like, just this feeling that I had of, I don't necessarily care how good it is, as long as I'm content with it at the end of the day, was a mindset that I had. And I don't want to have the same mindset, but the mindset that I have is holding me back greatly. Because I don't want this to just look like a stupid reaction video.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unless I'm misunderstood, that's what it is.
Yep.
So...
But I think there's ways to make it smoother and more entertaining and, I don't know, easier to watch.
Sure.
I mean, we could Gen Z it up, just absolutely bombard the viewer with content, which is to say, chock it fill with edits and memes and stupid stuff that just, like, most 80% of it isn't even funny, but the 20% that is what keeps people watching.
Right,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah. It's mainly just, like, constant stimulation to keep your eyes on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
A channel you might look at for inspiration is Oompaville. You ever heard of him?
Nope.
He's got that Gen Z editing style down to a T, really. And I'm not, like, judging him. I mean, it works. And sometimes I even enjoy it. But it is just a bombardment of stimuli.
To a lesser degree, I'd say Pyrocynical is similar. He makes these, like, fucking multi-hour long videos of him just talking about a thing, but it's just so dense with, like, stupid little edits and memes and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Can we get that air horn noise?
There it is. Great. So, how are we feeling about that now? Can we move on?
I mean, I've already kind of been working my way through moving on. It's just becoming a slower grind because I need to get past this mental barrier that I have. I think I've got the idea. It's just, I don't know. I'm accidentally turning into a perfectionist.
Oh, dear God. I believe in you.
Well, great. Again, I really feel like moving forward, we should be more collaborative with the edits in particular. Because we can all help each other.
Mm-hmm.
With that in mind, Cody, what are you working on?
I am working on our visit to Prospect Place and our Ghost Hunters episode.
Hell yeah. How's that going?
Well, to be honest, I'm very frustrated with the audio from the footage we received.
Talking about me and Chris.
Like, no, it's just in general. I'm not going to criticize you, John. You got what you got. And for the most part, I think it worked. But the cameras that we were using, I don't think had very good microphones on them.
Definitely not.
And maybe we were using them wrong, but maybe we shouldn't have set them to the settings that we did. But just, there is so much hum. And it honestly kind of makes it difficult to hear people talking once it gets all edited out. Like, there's so much audio processing that I have to do that it kind of garbles everything that's left. That's not your fault. You got a good deal on cameras.
We can blame John, though.
I'm not going to.
All right. I will.
And I think the fact that they had IR really balances it out. I think that definitely helps with the aesthetic of a Ghost Hunter video.
Hell yeah.
Like, that's not something we could just replicate with our phones.
Not to toot my own horn, but in Team Wolf's explorations in particular, especially when I get to the barn, I start just messing around with how can I make this look particularly spooky? And man, it just like playing with the flashlight and the zoom on the flashlight and changing how far you can see, it could fuck somebody up. You could really make something good and spooky with that IR camera and a flashlight.
Yeah.
I felt like we set up really good spooky camera angles with like the still images.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are several, I put them in the ambiance folder of just, where I had just had the camera, I'm like, oh, this would be spooky. And so I would just turn the camera on with the IR and just sat there for like 5 seconds. Like one of the cellar door and one of the stairs going up and one of the, like there's one that I don't even know who did this. It's just like of the floor, but it's very Blair Witch and only like 5 seconds long. And I was just like, I'm not going to delete this. This is spooky.
I appreciate it. I don't know if I'll use it, but... So, I've got a good outline placed down. I think that there's going to be like a stinger at the beginning that is... Where the trailer is a condensed down version of the video, the stinger is going to be a condensed down version of the trailer. And then it's going to like... The spooky music's going to ramp up, and then there's gonna be like an Inception blah noise, and it's gonna cut to black, and then it's gonna be like, white text, day 1, 3 p.m. And I recorded a video right before you guys got to my apartment.
Okay.
That I'm going to start the video with, and then splice in footage of our drive to Trinway, and then I think I might start from there the same way it starts in the trailer. I think I'm going to do us driving up to the gate and then splice in the first interview with Chris. And then from there, the interviews and the investigation footage I'm just going to splice back and forth between.
Yeah.
That's going to be most of the video. So as you guys talk about something in the video, either directly before or directly after that, we're going to show the real-time footage.
Okay.
And you could probably do for our interview, where like we were going up the stairs. Like you could kind of just have that as footage if like I don't know, the interview actually doesn't look that interesting. Because the stairs being a 3-story building, like I wish I would have gone back into it. One, sorry, my camera sucked. I was so bad with that thing. Like, I definitely reached points where I'm like, yeah, my arm is so tired. we're going waist shot. We're going with a waist shot, okay? But like, I wish I would have got a good angle of like me and Chris going up the stairs. But I just remember Chris being like I let him go up like 6 steps in front of me, and he turned around. He's like, "Are you coming?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on my way." And he's like, "Why are you so far back?" I'm like, "Bro, it's fine."
Sorry.
Chris, you were very spooked.
I was very spooked.
There was literally a moment while I was reviewing all the footage where I was watching you, and then for whatever reason, I'm not really sure what the hell was going on with like the ordering in the file that I was viewing them all from, but it went from you to me to you to me at one point, and I was just watching it in order, and it was just really fun to see it going from you like being so genuinely frightened of being in that servant's quarters, and then to me being like bored in a barn.
I think, yeah, that's definitely some juxtaposition that I'm using.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like just the shock of the change in emotional tension.
Wait, are we
between
Chris?
Well, I was gonna let him finish so he could cut out my dialogue.
Oh, I was actually done too.
Oh, are you using any of the actual historical tour we did?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna be like a big chunk of it,
dude.
Okay.
I mean, not like that's gonna be a sizable portion, probably like 10 minutes.
I think I've watched the trailer probably about like 20 times.
Yeah.
I don't think it counted all the views because like as soon as it would finish, like when I got back to my phone, like if I was at work or something, I would get back to it, I would just hit the replay button.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that adds another view to it. But like one thing that everyone being their own worst enemy, one thing that I kept seeing was the first time that we went up the stairs and you had the camera right behind me. Bro, you just see a layer of lower back sweat on my shirt.
Yeah.
You were a damp individual.
Oh man, I saw that and I'm like, I saw it the first time immediately and I'm like, well, that's embarrassing.
Obviously, open invitation for both Cody and John here. I want to feel like I'm contributing. I want to feel like I can help. If you guys want me to do anything, just say the word. If you want me to record something or just make a noise.
I think I would like you to write a voiceover script.
Okay.
And record it.
All right.
I think for the most part, I'll need like a working draft of the whole video so that I know what voiceover will be needed. Because I imagine like voiceover is kind of like a glue that can just adhere the scenes together.
Hell yeah.
Right. Like on like Monster Quest.
And there's a fuckload of B-roll from Team Scott's first investigation.
I think, Scott, we could treat this like the TJ Munt backstory and work this one together. Because
hell yeah.
I love putting this stuff together.
Someone help me.
I love doing stuff like this.
So that's where I'm at. Hopefully, end of the month.
Okay.
Oh, really?
I'm hoping.
Now here's the important thing to me. I know you said it's really hard to be able to get any sort of voices or anything from the microphones. That being said, there's one really important whisper that we picked up when we were in the party room. Or we think we got a whisper. That definitely sounds like it starts with a K noise and ends with a S noise. And like when I heard it, the first things I heard were kill yourself.
The fuck?
Like that when Scott was playing it for us and he was streaming it through his computer. That was what I heard. And I'm like, man, if we can save any audio in this, I hope it's that part.
Well,
so
here's
the
if you're
tricky
listening,
thing.
for more, like, let's not spoil the evidence. You got to watch the video if you want to see what we got.
Yeah.
Here's something that I've been going back and forth while I've been editing this. Is that, like, how much hand-holding or massaging do I want to do in this case?
Right.
Captions and shit.
Exactly. Captions and subtitles. Some of it will be absolutely necessary, especially for us, because the audio is not great.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's quiet or stuff like that. So for us, I'll definitely need some subtitles, which is just gonna be a bitch and a half to generate.
I can help at the very. I have the. If you just tell me where to look, I can help you try and parse out what we're saying.
Sure. It's more just like editing in the text files into the video. It's just so tedious.
It takes what could have been a couple minutes of editing to now, like, depending on how much you're trying to do, half an hour to an hour. Because you have to stop every time somebody starts to talk. You have to listen to what they say. Like, you can just go ahead and, like, pop it in one spot, or you can kind of roll it in as they say it. Like, there's options for it. Yeah.
It's just such a hassle. But the thing is, do we do that for the stuff like the ghost voices?
Well, not
like,
to put another channel that is
way
way fucking bigger than us on blast, but I've mentioned them a lot. Nick and Ryan, I really do like their videos. I like their ghost hunt shit, but they do that all the time. And I'm just gonna say this: I have really good headphones. And I'm confident they're very good because the last ones I had, I thought were good. And they're dog shit compared to the ones I have now. There has been they use the captions and they're like, oh no, you can hear the ghost saying these words. And I'm just going to say, no, you fucking can't. They treat the audio, they show it in several different ways to make sure you can hear it. And I change my EQ sliders and I turn up the volume and I'm like, no, there's literally no noise happening, Nick and Ryan.
And so I'm like, I don't want to prime the audience to believe something that may or may not be there, because if you add subtitles, like, you're priming people's minds to look for those words.
So, but every single ghost show does that.
Well,
I know.
The question now is, do we want to be like every single ghost show?
But, like, people... I feel like people watch ghost shows to experience ghosts.
Right.
I feel like they watch it for the confirmation bias. They're watching it, usually, they're not me. They're not me, some skeptical asshole. They're watching it because they already believe in ghosts.
Exactly. And so, if you want those people to watch, you need... something for them to latch onto.
So, what I discovered from our trip, and I was telling a coworker about this, is that the entire ghost hunt was confirmation bias. Like,
for you,
I obviously think like what we experienced was ghost activity because I went in there thinking ghost activity is real, and while Kyle probably most certainly is like, no, ghosts aren't real. None of that was all audio hallucinations and whatnot. Because he went in there thinking ghosts aren't real. And I think ghost shows are also entertaining for those that don't, because they're like, look at this stupid shit.
Scott?
It's like rage watching. What do they call it?
Hate watching.
Anger watching, hate watching. Yeah.
You said my name, did you?
Yeah. Scott, can you is this why you would ever watch those shows?
I wanted to believe like Ghost Hunters in particular Ghost Hunters. For some reason, just the vibe it was given, not early on, but I'm talking like later season 3, 4 type of shit. It felt very scientific, and they weren't like going out of their way to be like, oh my god, it's the ghost of old man Johnson, and he's trying to, I don't know, he's saying like, I'm the body of a pig. No. Like, most of the time, in that era that I watched it, they wouldn't find Dick.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me think, I think they're onto something. I think they're on to, because whenever they did find something, it just felt better. And there was like, from what I remember, I only watched I haven't watched all of Ghost Hunters or anything, but I watched a good chunk of what I did watch.
Okay.
And there was one time in all of Ghost Hunters where they found something that literally made me go, okay, I guess ghosts are real if this is real.
So, how about this? To kind of find a mixture of both, we could let it play out and then either do one of two things. After it happens, we can kind of use Scott's voice as an over narration to say like, hey, we're going to replay this audio for you here. It definitely sounds like we caught something, but we'll leave it up to your interpretation. And like replay that audio. Or like, and like we can do that like right after that bit happens. Or we can do it like right after that segment happens.
So what I thought you were about to say was after its first playing, its second playing would be Scott saying what we think it says. And my thought was just like, that would be fucking hilarious if you just like had the ghost
It's
just
just
like,
a faggot.
and it was like, and then just like, and then we just like, in the next bit, it's that, but it's like slow down. We just have Scott monotone like, kill yourself.
Make yourself suffer, you stupid little
You have
bitch.
a
Fuck on
small-
that one.
You have a small penis.
I am a
Down your
pig.
pants. Let me see what's going on down there. Hey-o.
If we had gone in with the thought of we're going to make this campy and funny, then I'd be like, that is a fantastic idea. But
Before we move on from this, I just want to say, me who has listened to every bit of footage that we captured, there's two things that come to mind that I cannot give a satisfactory explanation for.
Oh fuck!
Mm-hmm.
But two things is not a lot
Yeah.
of things.
We
Fair.
spent 12 hours in that place.
Mm-hmm. The stuff that was happening in the ballroom with John and Chris, that's like we can run that beautifully.
Hell yeah.
I
If you
can cut
believe
that
in the
into
spirit
something
box, then you're
beautiful.
gonna love that shit.
Dude,
Mm-hmm.
I still get goose. Like, I laugh at that fucking turnaround that I did. That fucking action shot turnaround.
What the fuck?
I have coworkers that are really into the paranormal, and I was like, because I shared the trailer with all of them, and they're like, Chris, where's the fucking video? We need it now,
Dude, a lot of my family's also asking about the video.
dude. And like,
We should just like really like put it out on the street like a fucking streetwalker, you know?
Mhm.
Like,
Absolutely.
put it on Facebook, tell people to fucking share it and shit to all your family members.
I think
Here's the
we
thing.
need
Here's the thing,
A
though,
short.
is if we do that, it means everybody knows about our channel.
Is that a problem?
Well, like, my dad was visiting my sister and her
Oh, dear
husband
God.
this past weekend, and he was like, yeah, I showed them your guys' YouTube channel.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, you didn't need to do that. And they're like, yeah, they watched all of your videos.
Oh,
and I'm
no.
like, they really didn't need to do that.
I have no shame. I don't give a shit who sees what I do.
I've also somewhat moved past it, but I know where Cody's at right now.
There's some things that I've said that maybe once enough time has passed, I'll go back into YouTube Studio and cut out.
Wow.
But
Yeah.
Wow.
But like,
This is the face of the police state.
I was I was telling one of them because she's from Salem, Massachusetts, and so the paranormal was her upbringing, and she's like, I always wanted to go on like a ghost hunt, and I was like, well, let me tell you this, and she's like, I need to see this video, and she, like Scott said, that she just ate up that story, and she cannot wait till the video comes out so she can watch it for herself.
So you're trying to get in somebody's pants. Okay.
No.
So
All right.
I
get you.
will say two things here. One, I would love to go do this again. But I would like to switch it up because I think this time I want to be alone.
I thought you were
Oh
about
man,
to
I
say
really
Chris
do
should
want to be alone. I liked being alone.
You did
The
enjoy
problem
being
was,
alone? You just were bored because you didn't get anything?
I was bored because nothing happened. I was in a house by myself, right?
I'm
That's what
sorry.
I knew was going to happen. But I really just love the idea of walking by myself in a supposedly haunted house.
Please,
All
please
right.
don't let me be alone.
I won't let you be alone, Chris. We're going to be a team
And
again.
no, we forgot to do this last time.
We
because
didn't do this last time. You're right.
We were just tired, and I get it. But we are going to do that. We are going to do, if we do it again,
I
we
so
are
want
going
to do it again.
you're sitting in a dark room by yourself for 10 minutes, at least. And you're just talking to a ghost.
I do remember, like, when I laid down to finally go to sleep, I was
It
like,
would have been the ballroom.
I was like, dang it, man. We were going to go to sleep in, like, random-ass rooms. Do I just get up and grab a cot and go up to the boys' room? And just go sleep in there? Like,
And I still, like,
I would have been okay with that, I think. One, if you guys hadn't experienced what you did in the ballroom. And two, if they had just given us some blankets.
yeah.
Like,
Well, there were blankets in the girls' room. Didn't you see them?
I did.
I
Yeah, they told us not to mess with them.
I would not go. I would not sleep anywhere but that first floor.
You know what? I mean, we identified a safe room, and all of us attached to the safe room very quickly.
Like, porcelain dolls notoriously cannot climb up and down stairs.
a great deal of my exasperation was the most interesting part of the whole fucking experience was the house. And mine was like, my exploration of it was cut in half because you guys were so fucking loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I think also
I really am jaded and a little bit annoyed still because I was in the ballroom, then I came downstairs and I'm like, and you can hear me in the footage being like, man, I sure hope they're okay. They were being very loud. All of my audio is fucked. As I can hear them so easily. And that's not your guys' fault, that's the basement. But then I was in the duck room with the duck that I named, I don't remember what.
Alvin.
Yep.
And I was like hearing you guys like scare John and Chris. And I thought something was wrong because I heard everybody talking and I heard the scream and it didn't sound like laughing to me. It sounded like something had happened. So I'm like, I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to just go see if they're okay.
We handled this very unprofessionally for the most part.
Oh,
I mean, you know.
as I've been working with this footage, this is I definitely believe that this is like a first pancake type situation
Yeah.
where we just tried it, got one under our belt, and now we have all of this hindsight in order to make the next one better.
I don't think Kyle went in as serious as the rest of us.
He's very
Yeah.
loud.
Also,
yeah.
like I genuinely got mad every time I heard the net hit the floor. I just got unbelievably angry at unbelievable.
I was just filled with unbridled rage.
Just every time.
Okay. Let's move on from the ghost shit. This isn't a ghost shit podcast. This is my corner. I want to at least dedicate some time to this. This was going to be the whole thing. But then I'm like, you know what? Let's give the devil his due. Let's try and help each other with the shit that we're in the middle of.
Okay, real fast. There was a second thing that I wanted to say, and then I'll help you segue into this. I'll help you segue into this. All right. when I got home, over the course of the next week, I had a dream where I was not me, but I was some sort of something just looking into my hallway, like I was standing or hovering right above the top left corner of my TV, looking into my doorway. And the dream felt like it was hours long. And when I woke up at like 6 in the morning and it was pitch black, I'm like, this is it. This is where I die. This is how I
like
die.
An end of the video thing.
It could be, but it really felt like a movie's kind of like view from the monster's point of view kind of thing.
We could even do a recreation.
We could
do that.
Recreation just like in the actual shows.
Yeah.
Yes, John. I need you to get a camera, set it up on a tripod, and just explain this dream. And then, like, get another camera and recreate what this dream was.
Scott, can you give me your best snarling noise? That's like pretty good. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm slightly unsettled now.
Yeah. That's going to be ASMR.
So that's these two projects. Scott, let's talk about the project that I think you are most passionate about.
It's more, I mean, passionate about might be the wrong word. I'm passionate about all this shit, to be honest. I wish I could do more. Regardless.
We're about
I'm
to talk
most
about the
nervous
anime,
about
right?
this one because I think with the House of Leaves video, there is just no way it's going to be what I want it to be. Unless it is, and I'll be happy. But I don't. So, first things first. House of Leaves, huh? It's a book. Isn't that great? If you didn't watch the previous podcast, it's right in their top right corner. Do they still do that? I don't know.
We can, yeah.
We read the book collectively. Chris attempted. He did not finish it, even after all this time. Isn't that great? Put him on blast. Everybody put him on blast right now.
Kyle read it all in one day.
Working on it.
Still working on it. Well, great. I guess no spoilers then. Why would I even spoil it? To talk about the video that I want to make? Oh, great. Regardless.
So, help me out. What is your idea? What's your view of the video?
So, I want it to be a video essay, and I'm talking dense. I want it to just not just be us talking about House of Leaves from the start to wherever it ends in the multi-hour thing that I want it to be, right?
Okay.
I want us to have a point. Also, I brought up some notes that I and Cody have made since reading the book. And I'm not going to get into the maybe later, but for now I'm just going to start with the beginning notes, the general notes of the video that I've added. Little ideas for how I feel like the video. I've talked about with you this with you guys before, how I just kind of have images in my head, and I'm like, oh, that would look cool and compelling, but I don't really know how to turn that into a video. And part of that video image is like, how could we start it? How do we formulate it? I love the idea. So in the book, there's a lot of footnotes, and the author, quote unquote, in the second place of I'm not going to go into it, but he takes the reader in this weird roundabout route to get to where he's going. And the first time I read it, I just let him take me by the hand and lead me where he was going. And I like that idea for this video. I like the idea that we take these weird circuitous routes to, for example, there's a portion of the book where the structure of the novel, the way it's the words are presented to the reader, falls apart completely, and it's like you're going through a labyrinth. The reader is needing to read through a labyrinth of words to get to the end of the chapter. And I just love the idea that we're using the book's tricks against it in this essay, where we do some thing, maybe we can literally create a series of footnotes to cite bullshit that we say, even if the shit doesn't matter, in the description.
How would you translate that chapter into a video format? Not necessarily the ergoticness of that chapter. How does that translate into a video?
Help me out,
Hello.
Cody. What does ergoticness mean?
It refers to a type of literature that is written in such a way that
Effort is required to read it.
a non-trivial amount of effort is required to read the book. More so than just there's lines on a page, left to right, top to bottom.
And I had an idea that I thought would be really funny, where to highlight, it's like we're using the book's tricks against it, to highlight how absurd it is when the book starts doing that. We could literally just have a whole 5 to 10 minute section of this video where we talk about the history of, like, book formatting. Why it's left to right.
Yeah, okay.
It's similar to the Echo thing, where he just goes a whole chapter talking about echoes just so that one moment is more punctual.
I do like the idea that as you're talking, you suddenly, your image is like shrunk and is like moved to the side, and now it's like your audio gets diminished. And then it's like a newsroom and someone's talking over you, and then there's a speech crawl on the bottom. And then eventually it's you get to a point where it's like, okay, stop. We're getting too ahead of ourselves.
I think, okay, I like this. Here's something to synthesize all this. There will be multiple authors to this video.
Yeah, that's
There
what I
will
was gonna
be-
fucking say.
There's going to be one person who is going to be writing the video essay. And then another one of us is going to be writing footnotes responding to the essay in the video. So, for example, maybe it's because I'm a narcissist. I always imagine myself as the one writing the video essay.
Sure, yeah.
I've come to expect it.
Here's how I imagine the video starting. Black screen. The subtle sound of paper burning, just that small crackling sound. Iris in off of me sitting in darkness reading House of Leaves. The only light source is me holding a page of the book that is on fire. And then and this is great because we're coming into winter, so if we do this outside, I could be dressed in like cold weather gear and you'll actually see like my voice fogging because it's supposed to be cold in the house. And then I notice the camera and I just speak directly to the camera. I'm like, "Oh, I see you're trapped in here too." And then there's like a little bit of a monologue about me telling you about this book that I'm reading called House of Leaves. And during this little monologue, I rip out another piece of paper and light it on fire because the old one is burning down.
I love that.
A slight add to this, because we've all kind of agreed that I'm just going to take the spot of the person that's going to be watching the video. Like, how do they initially burn? Like, get the initial burn? Do they have a match or something?
He has
Yeah.
a book of matches.
Get that match strike noise. You don't have to have the flare up
that's
of
a good
it,
idea.
but it's such a satisfying noise to have.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's going to be the sound that you hear while the screen is still black. And then feather soft Iris off of the burning page into just me sitting in blackness. Or somebody, anybody, doesn't have to be
John,
Yeah.
I fucking love you.
Oh, my God.
Remember how you said that you don't try to pause things when you go and get popcorn or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I would love it if during a part of the video where they're just talking about nothing because we've gone on a tangent, if we cut to like a computer screen and you're watching the video and then you are just like, I need some popcorn, and you go and make popcorn and then come back and then the video like comes back into view and it's like past that point of tangent.
We're like, okay.
Or just like something like completely meta where it's just like, this is really risky. what we're doing, guys.
That's what I'm
this
saying.
Is a video
I don't-
that nobody is going to want
That's
to
why I was
watch.
going to read this this comment this note that I had. Continue.
Well, let me get this out while we're on the topic, and then we can pivot.
Mhm.
So, building off of Chris's idea, is we're watching the video, and then it cuts to a camera of the screen watching the video, pulls back, shows John sitting at his desk watching the video. He gets up, goes into his kitchen, and makes a bag of popcorn. The camera stays on the screen,
Hell yeah.
like pulled back a little bit.
That's what I
And
was
the
imagining the
video
whole time.
And the video just keeps playing.
And you can
And then, but then,
you can hear like
at a certain
faint.
point-
Sorry, Cody. You can hear like the faint tangent that Chris was talking about. Like I take off the headphones and it kind of mutes itself, and you
Mhm.
can hear a faint
So
bit
like
of the tangent
noise
still
is
going.
diegetic.
Exactly.
yeah. Oh, your kitchen, I think, is close enough to your bedroom where we might be able to even hear you moving around in your kitchen. But the really spooky thing would be if the tangent or whatever is on the screen is just playing, and then it just stops, and whoever's talking just kind of.
Oh wait,
He's like,
he's left
where'd
the
he go?
room. I'll just
But
I'll just
like
wait a minute.
not in like no, not even just like that, but something like spooky. Like I'm waiting for him to come back. I want him to hear this.
You could like
You know, something like that.
I think-
where like the person in the video knows that John is watching him.
So let's back up a little bit and think about this. Like, this is where we now, I think, want two voices of narration.
I was about to say that.
And, like, one of them will be going off on their tangent and then stop. The other voice says, like, "What? Wait, was that it? No, I'm waiting for him to come back." And, like, there's that eeriness to it.
This is very floppy cock, and I'm a fan of that.
I don't know what
Floppy
that means.
cock is one of my favorite channels. It's Flaw Peacock,
Okay.
and Floppy likes to do dumb skits in the middle of his, like, he's the classic. Him and Wendigoon are like whiteboard YouTubers, right?
Right.
Mhm.
And he just has a whiteboard behind him, and he's like drawing and blah blah blah. Point is, that's very floppy cock, where we're just like having mini skits inside this huge essay.
But it seems like it almost seems like what House of Leaves is and what this video will be is a bunch of skits with an essay in between.
Sure.
Yes.
And I'm down for that.
Let me read this note. I wrote this a long time ago when we created this document. We could attempt to emulate the way the story is told in some places, though that might be antithetical to making a compelling video. As an example, a segment where we talk at length about the history of novel formats, just to highlight how weird it is when the book doesn't follow that format, like when Zampano explains echoes. Going slightly deeper on this, we could even leave footnotes in the description sourcing our explanations, directing the viewer to that footnote with a number in the corner of the video.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes. So that I think that's more than anything. I'll let you finish, Chris. I think more than anything, what we want this video to be is to emulate in video format the same feelings you get reading this type of
Yes.
book.
Hell yes.
Where it's like it's off and it's weirdly tangential and you don't actually really like the video. But it is it's like no video you've ever
It's
seen.
like a train wreck.
I just thought of a really funny way to kind of end the video. This definitely feels like a kind of video where, like, we do a slight amount of credits, even if it's just gonna be for fucking 4 or 5 people. But like at the end of it, like I get up again and like I hit my hallway, and my hallway is something that we can play around with, where like we edit it so it feels like it's stretching outward, and I just like it cuts back to me. I'm like, nah, I'm just saying things. Never mind, and I just walk away. Like.
I don't know how we'd do it, but if we could just get like one long continuous shot of you walking through your hallway, but it looks like the hallway is like 50 feet long.
Yeah.
Like you just keep we'll show the hallway at a previous point in the video, and you start walking down that hallway towards the camera.
I mean,
and you just keep walking.
here's the thing, okay?
If we were actually popular, it would just be that endlessly while Patreon members rolled
Like,
while the video ended.
the cool thing about this is we have a mirror at the hallway. So, like, there's something that we can do. I know there's something we can do. It's just putting our brains together and figuring out how exactly to do it.
I forgot about the mirror. That would be really tricky to work around.
I
We can move
know
the mirror.
for a fact that if of the people I know, I trust Cody to figure it out.
Wow, no pressure, Cody.
I give Cody a lot of props with
Hey,
all the editing and stuff.
I'm not trying to be the opposite here and exclude Cody, but when we did the channel trailer, we did an amazing mirror trick with that.
Yes.
With very little but an idea.
Yes.
One of my favorite ideas as well, and this is just obvious, but I do like how it'll feel. I think I like how it'll feel. While we're going to be going through the entire book, obviously, and we can just really emulate the Johnny Zampano feel when, like, the person talking about what's going on with Navidson is just cut off by a different person talking about what's going on with Johnny.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm also going to buy another copy of the book so we can burn it.
Yep, I was going to do that too.
You had a really funny idea where, like, throughout the video, it'll be you, like, reintroducing yourself into the space that you've created, into the, oh, you're trapped in here with me, I guess. Where you just, like, you found, like, they stumble on you again, you're like, oh, hey again, and you just, like, burn another book.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
If we had just, like, a foundation of a house that we could have a fire in the middle of, so it looks like we're having a fire on the floor of this big massive room.
John, quick question. How would you feel?
My fire
No
alarm's
pressure.
turned off.
How would you feel if we removed all the furniture out of your living room and built a fire pit in the middle of your living room so that we could film this scene?
Thoughts?
So I was
His
going
house
to
is cold
say,
enough.
I was going to say that hallway thing that I was talking about, if we're able to pull off the trick with that, maybe we pull off less of an extended hallway trick and more of, like, we do basically we extend the hallway a little bit, but it ends with me walking into my living room where you were already sitting there at the beginning of it, lighting the fire.
Oh, and it loops back
Yeah,
around.
exactly.
Oh my
How
gosh,
can we
that'd be-
do
That'd
that?
be great.
I mean, you can do anything with editing, I guess.
Like, I think that would be amazing.
If we could find, also I have this image in my head of this would be a twofold thing that I'm not sure how it would work. Never mind. I had an image in my head of, like, John, we see him in profile close up, just the top half, walking down his hallway, and behind him is the wall moving, as if he's walking by it. If we could find some sort of seamless way to make it look just like he's always walking, as the wall keeps moving behind him, and so it's just endless wall with no, it's all corridor with no,
So, okay, we might be able to pull that off if we have him walking in front of a green screen,
sure.
and if we key him into this endless hallway, if we keep it dark, we might be able to hide the cuts
Mm-hmm.
and some of the jank.
And I mean, like,
and it's supposed to be dark.
yeah. And also, like, I'm pretty sure I don't know if the hall had doors, I can't remember. But, like, we can also do just, like, cheap-ish edits where, like, I'll hook a right and go into my guest bedroom. Because the audience wouldn't know it's the guest bedroom. And then, like, I come out of my bedroom back into the hallway. And there's just an
You're
easy...
thinking more Scooby-Doo.
Not like, not so jokingly, but, like, for the creepiness aspect. Because, like, I think at that point we should get an unsettling feeling.
I do.
I love the idea of doing those stupid TikTok cuts where they like put their they like move their hand in front of the camera and then suddenly they're in a different change of clothes.
Sure.
But like going to
I'm sure you've seen a lot of those, you fucking pervert.
whatever. And like we go up to a door and we get the camera a little too close to the door so it blacks out, and so when we open it, it's just a totally different place.
I mean, that's how they cheat on oneers a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we
Why
could.
not? We know how they do it. Why don't we use it?
You know?
I feel like we could buy a 10-foot
House.
tall mirror
Oh,
and just put it at the open end of my hallway and just mirror trick that.
Maybe, but the problem is that the camera would be in view.
Well, I mean, that's when we zoom in a little bit. So that the camera wouldn't be in view for that portion of it.
regardless, this is all great. The
No, well,
thing
it
that's
still
most
would be,
pressing to
duh.
me, the thing that's most pressing to me is what is the point of the video?
What is the takeaway?
What message are we trying to convey to the viewer by the end of the video?
I think I've said my piece on that. I think it should be as weird and uncomfortable to watch this video as it is to read the book.
Okay.
I think that's the big thing. Listening to the whole podcast, that was my favorite thing about the book, was how different it felt than any other book I've heard you guys talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, like, so usually, like an essay, most of the video essays that I've seen about a topic, right, is they're usually the call to action is to read the book yourself, right? And that's what I assume many of the watchers will do. So I figured that would just be it.
Do we acknowledge Danielewski at all?
Of course, we have to.
Daniel's the actual author?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I just, if we were playing it in character, like
God
we
damn it.
we believe, like we frame the book as if it was actually written by Zampano and Johnny
So
in our world.
here's a thought, right? Because we're already deciding that there's going to be multiple layers to the video. Only in the last layer, when we're done like with the video essay, it becomes an acknowledgement to Daniel
Well,
or Mark.
you know, devil's advocate here. The book itself is bound in a way where the very first page is,
yeah.
like it says, by Mark Z. Danielewski, and it's very loosely bound. You can just very easily tear it out, and then you have a full Zampano written book.
I was gonna say, what are we doing here? Because there's a very clear thing that we can do that alludes to the idea that the book is also doing, where like I think the only tie-in that we do is when that interaction happens between, assuming, me and Cody at the end of the book, where he's like, "Oh, you've come to join me." We have like a slight interaction where we realize his book is by a different author. Like you could do something like that.
That yeah.
But I
Can
also
we-
like keeping that interaction brief.
Can we find Mark and Danielewski for our video?
No.
Mark, if you're watching the video, please reach out to us at the email doublefuproductions@gmail.com.
Are you okay with us burning your book?
I'm going to assume that if you do not respond, the answer is yes.
And it's, at least for me, I can't speak for everybody, it is being burnt from a place of genuine admiration and just recognition.
Scott, what's the purpose of the video essay for you?
I guess what I want is to give people, like, similar to what Cody said, but I guess different in that I'm the one saying it. I want people to feel the same way that specifically I felt when I made a certain realization that I don't want to spoil for Chris.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can manage to give them that, like, oh, fuck, that I had, then I would have succeeded.
I think I know exactly what we're talking about, the end of our discussion.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, I've thought about this. I've thought about how the video is going to begin, and I've thought about how it's going to end. We acknowledge what was the framing narrative of the book, and then we present our speculations. And then we get to the final one, which I think I agree with you, is the one that I want it to be. I'm not going to say it's the correct one. But then we present all the evidence, and then we're like, and if it wasn't any more obvious, look at the cover of the book, hiding in plain sight, and then it's just a close-up shot of the cover, and then it just cut to black. Credits. Like, don't even, explain it in any words. Just let the visual storytelling speak for itself.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the problem I don't know I don't know how to start.
Yeah.
I've talked about the thumbnail. My perfect dream thumbnail. I've talked about this with you guys. Is a photo of a lit match to the left of them, and it's pitch black around the lit match.
Yep.
To the left of the match is in black and white text. It says, "This is." To the right of the match, it is in white text, "For you." And on top of the flame, in black text, it says, "Not."
Yep.
I think that's so...
I love that.
Can absolutely edit something like that.
Scott, what I don't think you understand, because you constantly say how you're not a creative, right? How fucking artsy and awesome that fucking sounds.
I'm gonna be real. Sure, that's great. It's thanks to the book. All of that, you haven't gotten to it, all of that imagery comes from the book. Regardless.
So I guess maybe I'm just an idiot. But I did make a realization.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the pictures in the back. And
Like the Polaroids or
yeah. And like there's one that's like a weird collage of things, and it shows the air symbols
sure.
and their meanings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I realized some of the footnotes use those symbols.
Yeah. Is that a... Dude, you got so much more to realize.
Dude,
Yeah.
I know, but it makes me want to go back and have that list so I can be like, okay, so this footnote is danger.
And we could even have like Chris's poetry corner where he literally uses his degree to talk about the poems in the book. Some of them
Another
aren't
great
like
tangent.
some of them aren't even like originals, I think. I think some of them, like Zampano, were like, oh, I liked this one, it was that kind of thing. But a good chunk of them are Johnny written.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't
That's interesting
I like
too.
the idea.
Sorry, that's interesting too, because isn't it like Johnny is reading notes of somebody who read the book or something?
He's reading the manuscript that Zampano wrote.
About a movie that doesn't exist.
Yeah,
and we are
okay.
reading his notes that have been also edited by the editors.
Like, so that's where now I think, like, step one is, I think, writing out the majority of what we want to talk about. Step two is classifying those into 3 separate categories. Cody voices one, Scott voices a second, Chris voices the third. And now it's up to the interpretation of the viewer to understand what's happening there.
Yes. I don't think there has to be a one-to-one comparison between the authors of the book
Sure.
and the speakers in our video. I do like the idea, like you guys mentioned, of just like either like me or Scott just like explaining the significance of a scene and then just hard cut to Chris reading one of the Pelican poems. It's just, what? What does that mean? Why is that there? I don't know. Why did they leave that in? Why did they record it?
And I also think that, like, this is probably, I'm going to say this is probably going to get condensed to probably hour and a half is my rough shoot.
Fuck no.
It's going to be 4 hours long, actually.
I want it to be crazy long and dense.
This is literally like a Wendigoon, or not even Wendigoon. Expanding ideas,
Folding ideas.
Hello.
folding ideas. Thank you.
I want like a proper, like, oh my god, I'm gonna click on that video just because it's 4.5 hours long video essay.
Okay.
It won't be that long. God, I hope it's not that long, if I'm gonna be real. But I want it to be chunky and thick. It's the kind of thing that we are just really desperately trying to hit that 10-minute mark for the ads.
It's 8 minutes now.
All right.
It's
So
8 minutes.
let me
Wow.
back up.
Oh,
Chris,
that
it
means
is
we can make a
integral.
3.
These goddamn Zoomers.
Chris, so I'm going to need you to push past your depression and finish the book. That's step one. Step two is culminating all the notes. I know you guys created that Google Drive. It's culminating all your notes together and forming, I would say, honestly, I would probably do a brainstorming tree. And finding ways to group it together. And then I think at that point is where we actually draw up the draft. I think the little skits and ideas that can come from what we've already been talking about just now, I think all that can come later. Or as we're filling up the draft and the idea of the actual board for it. But I think step one is actually just forming the bubbles.
As an
Seeing
addendum
what
to
can lead
your
to
task
what.
for Chris, finish the book. I really did do this. Last week I read the book again. And then I listened to our podcast. And maybe it's just because it's us, maybe it's because it's me talking through most of it, but it truly is, after reading it I think 4th or 5th time, it really is so goddamn cathartic to listen to that podcast. And I would just recommend that after you finish it, Chris, listen to our episode, and it is like having a conversation about the book that you don't get to
Okay.
participate in.
Because you left early.
And I respect it. We talk about you in the video, and I give you a round of applause.
Oh, thanks.
Guys, I think we found a good stopping point. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
I think I
How's Bill's
might,
doing?
but we can save it for another episode.
Okay. I personally think it's a little overzealous to think that we can get it out by December 31st.
Definitely. I really wanted to do it by the end of the year, but then shit just kept happening, and then we did this
Mhm.
podcast, which was supposed to be fucking
A month ago.
a month ago today.
And then we still have the that'll be at the end of the month, right?
Hopefully.
So we're not going to have
Hopefully.
Cody readily available until, December. And that's I don't so
And again, I know there's not much. There's not I know there's not much that I can even suggest or even know what I could do, but if there is anything that any of us can do, Cody, to make it easier for you, tell us.
Sure. Sure thing.
what I guess what I'm saying is that, do we want to like give a date, like for us to have it done by?
I'll full on say I want it to be in the first quarter, because if not, we are teasing dangerously close to goddamn Wendigoon finishing his video.
Yeah.
So
Honestly, I think we keep the December 31st deadline.
I agree.
You think?
If we work for the next month and a half, thinking we've got to get it out by December 31st, we might not be able to do it, but we'll get so much more done if we have a deadline instead of just sometime next year.
I think also I'm a much bigger advocate of setting deadlines for shorter portions of it. I think legitimately, like, so we've stated a date for when the Prospect Place video is going to come out, hopefully by the end of the month.
And I picked
Chris,
that during this podcast. I had no timeline, but I'm like, if I don't give myself a date, I'm not going to do it.
Chris, you got to have that book finished by the end of this month.
Will do.
And I think
goal
legitimately
was to have it done before Thanksgiving.
And I think we should also be using that time. I can't do shit for brainstorming this, really. I can go back and listen to the podcast.
That's something.
Yeah.
But I probably will actually go do that because I want to participate as much as I limitedly can. But I think as you're reading the book, we need to be filling out this brainstorming on this Google Drive.
Yeah.
Like, I think you should be actively doing it as you are going through the book. And that way, at least from that point, by the time Cody gets the Prospect Place video out, then we can, like, we've already got everything in a thought bubble, and now it's just forming it to a script.
And it'll be good to read through it under the impression I'm going to be making a video about this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, every paragraph I'm going to be thinking, oh, that's interesting. Like, oh, I wonder how it could, that kind of thing. Also, I love Wendigoon, okay, guys? He's not damned by God. He's great. I want to beat him to making... The reason I got a fire under my ass about making this video is because during a live stream, he mentioned he was reading the book and made like a face that like, and be like, look forward to that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I think with all that said, Chris, send us home.
I think we've careered my depression.
You didn't even... depression.
We have careered it.
You've turned it into a career.
Hell yeah.
Yes. We've careered my... Oh, God.
It's called being a politician.
I was going to say...
I love
poet.
refrigerators.
Chris is
I know
trying
what
to
we can
edit
name
it.
this podcast. We can name it like just
The state of
making
the
of or brainstorming, that kind of thing.
Metaverse.
Brain dump.
I hope you guys enjoyed this because Chris is really struggling. I hope the listener really enjoyed the episode. I feel good. I feel like we accomplished what I wanted to accomplish at the beginning. We have a direction, and I like that we have a date. We are going to aim for December 31st to be finished at the very least. Maybe not uploaded, but finished.
Mhm.
And I feel good about that. I feel like we can do that.
All right.
This is the empty feeling you're talking about, Scott.
Huh?
I feel empty. I feel like I got a lot of stuff out.
Like you're all
My
pissed
creative
away.
niche has been hit. Goodbye, everybody.
I'm gonna go eat with some lasagna.